Known. Yes, Surya, correct. Good afternoon, good afternoon. So, older students, at 3 o'clock, we'll have the session of political geography, जो छूट गया था मुझसे, ठीक है? So, at 3 o'clock, yes. The older ones, not the ones who have joined me from 2 days. ठीक है, we'll manage that. Okay. I shared, by the way, I do not know if the new ones know or not. I have got 2 Telegram channels. One is dedicated for GS work, NCRT, current affairs and answer writing. And one is for geography environment. Okay, so एक तो आपका Telegram group है, which is the part of your batch, where I let you know which class change है या whatever. And these two is where I am active on a daily basis. Though the major work going on in those Telegram channels is answer writing, and वो topic आपने पढ़ा नहीं है अभी. Okay, so you can just have a look, fine, but be there at least to learn something of answer writing. Yesterday I shared 2 video links on the geography channel. I hope some of you have seen it. Which channel? Okay, so for the GS, the general wala hai, that is Shabbir Edukemy for IAS, and the one for geography, it is geography with Edukemy. Both are public channels on Telegram. Yes, it's me who is engaging there. Ria, you go through the website for now. Yes, Nirvasan, correct. Okay, so on both the channels, I am doing answer writing. I try to push some basic work like NCRTs, but somehow students are very slow on that. So I also have gone slow. I'll see what I can do there. And some current affairs work. So new ones I'll tell you eventually. But on this channel, I posted 2 videos yesterday. Okay, make sure that you have seen that. And the videos I record are generally around geography concepts, environment concepts. Okay, so do that. Okay. Let's get started now. Yesterday's class, what approach for current affairs? रोहित अभी रुक जाओ, ये अप्रोच क्या है कि मैं भी थक गया हूं. ओके, एवरीबॉडी वांट्स टू नो स्ट्रेटजी बता दो, अप्रोच बता दो. जब काम करने होते हैं सब गायब हो जाते हो. कितना रो रहे थे ओल्ड स्टूडेंट्स, एनसीईआरटी नहीं हो रहा, टारगेट दे दो, सब करा दिया मैंने. ओके, मैं सेड कि आई विल आल्सो चेक योर एनसीईआरटी समरीज. तो ये सब अप्रोच का ड्रामा बाद में करेंगे, ठीक है? अभी थोड़ा पढ़ लेते हैं. आई थिंक ह्यूमन माइंड इज trained towards give us formulas, hacks. Okay, where you want to collect all the hacks together and maybe make a booklet and sell it afterwards. Okay, so wait for that. So let's get started. अभी तो मेरा bigger concern है how I can put some of you into the process of prelims 26. In the class, how many of you began GS from Jan Feb? Can you raise your hand? Jan Feb onwards GS किया आप लोगों ने? ठीक है. So you are the ones who can actually target 26 attempt. If your GS has started from March, April onwards, it'll be tricky for most of you. Okay, so I'm targeting you guys mainly who have began July end से both GS and optional. ठीक है Tanishq, but I hope you are not preparing for 26. Okay, I can't stop you from the attempt. Okay, देना चाहें तो आप दें. But कुछ wisdom की बातें होती हैं. If you understand, it's nice. So those of you who began the preparation process, not optional, GS part, from January, Feb, you are the ones who can have a decent, okay, try at prelims attempt of 26. Okay, बाकी your choice, आप करना चाहें तो करें, no issues. तो अभी वो target है, but बाद में. So let's get on with our discussion now. So I'm discussing population distribution. So I'll quickly revise whatever we know. Okay? So you have an idea about a man's evolution, some terms. You understand the distribution is not even. Okay? There are clusters, there are linear ribbons, continent variations हैं, and we had some data around how Asia is around 60 odd percent, Africa 13, 14, 15% range में, Europe has come down dramatically, it is now decreasing in the population, and lot of distribution is not only because of good soil, good water, agriculture. We also have distribution because of migration, because of government policies. The distribution is also the consequence of the history of settlements. If some places have had population for a long time, they are bound to have more people than places which have been populated only recently. So Canada or Australia, these were not the traditional population regions. They are not the traditional civilization centers. Most of these became known and a bit more interaction only in the 16th, 17th century onwards. Otherwise, they had some older tribes, not too many of them. The settlement process of Australia is very recent. 200-300 साल से शुरू हुआ, and Australia, New Zealand have become more aggressive last 30-40 years, inviting more and more population, inviting migrants. So these areas are bound to have less populations. Whereas fertile soil regions of Mesopotamia, of Nile Valley, of Ganga Basin, of Mekong, of Hwanghae, all of these will have more people because they have a long history of settlements. It goes down to 3,000 years, 4,000 years and so on. You understand that aspect now. And in discussion, we mentioned how Africa, आज के date में, doesn't have much population compared to Asia. हालांकि Africa is among the very large continents. And much of Africa is tropical areas. Warm conditions, good rivers, good amount of soil also. But because of poverty, problems of conflicts, Africa में death rates बहुत high रहे हैं. High death rates, conflicts have been very bad in Africa, and health parameters are not so good. So Africa has very low life expectancy. But when in the future, and we are anticipating ये होगा, आज नहीं तो कल Africa will get better, at least on the health front first. The people will live longer. Okay, then Africa will have more and more population, while all other areas of the world will become lesser or stabilized. India also, we are optimistic of stabilization in another 20, 30, 40 years. But Africa will pick up. So we said Africa will be the main driver of population. In fact, the UN says that in the next 2050 onwards, 90% of the world's growth of population Africa se hoga. And by 2100, 100% is African population growing, because they have been later in the demographic transition. So I'll teach this to you while discussing growth of population. Okay, so Africa is a very important aspect, and then we have mentioned how this distribution is in clusters. So 5 of them बताया मैंने आपको: a South Asian cluster, Southeast Asian cluster, East Asian cluster, West European cluster, and the Northeast American cluster. Okay, some idea of percentage. So one of you asked me again, sir, ये number data कितना important है? Say, I do not know what you have been learning or what have you been taught here. My focus always is कि let your content look credible. कि कोई अगर आपका आंसर पढ़ रहा है, okay, it should look like this is an answer of a well-studied individual. उसने पढ़ा है, research किया है, he understands better. So your answers or write-ups must be credible write-ups. And the only way of establishing credibility is give data, give facts. Okay. Without number data, the answer will look very bland. Okay. It will not look like socha hua answer hai, ya fir padha hua answer hai. Okay. And the data need not be exact. Okay. I'm always keeping a range around 10%, okay, less than 10%, about 1/3, around 2/3, about 60%. अब exact देखने जाओगे 57 point something, 67 point something. I'll round off around 60%. I'll keep quiet there. You don't need to have the exact number, but you must have a range. The Africa का exact देखोगे it's around 15 point something. Around that, after around 13-15%. That's perfectly fine. Okay. So Europe का 6 point something percent. I said less than 10 approximately. You must have some thumb rules ताकि आप याद करके use कर पाओ. Africa, I said Asia is I think 64 point something. I said more than 60% we are done. So please, and data numbers अपने आप याद नहीं होगा. You have to, pay attention to the number patterns. It's not that कि लिख लिया और छोड़ दिया. ठीक है? So please, all of you, whatever is in the class notes, वो already processed content है. I've seen the content, I've matched the content. Okay, I have taken up the best possible what you can write, and then I've given you the content there. So the class notes content ko no compromise. You master that, memorize that, and use it. Okay? So data is important. So fine, yes. What is the indicator of? Yeah, but then we have seen that AIDS control hua hai. We have seen Ebola virus में investments हैं, will control that. Lot of environmental based intervention to manage droughts there. हाँ तो ठीक है. I'm not saying कि invest. So Africa का development is not same as Africa में poverty removal. Okay, Africa will not become like a modern European city country in next 10-15 years. But can't we stop people from dying because of hunger? Can't we stop people dying because of infection and waterborne diseases? That's part of the reality. But Africa may be pockets of development hai. ऐसी बात नहीं है. And Africa has tremendous resources. If you compare Arabia, what it was in 1970s and what it is today. Okay, बहुत फर्क है. 1970s, 1980s में Arabia was not what you see now. Much of Dubai was barren deserts. Photograph देख लो आप 1980s का. It took them 20 years, okay, to become what they have become. So अगर हम देखें the amount of uranium Niger has, Mali has, lithium the countries have, okay, coal and oil resources in parts of Chad and Sudan. Okay, Nigeria is oil rich. So if the politics can be in place there, 20 years where countries can transform. 20 years flat. So it's not something that's going to be magic there. And they have this, they have the resources, cobalt. Cobalt hai, copper hai Congo में. क्या हो सकता है आपको समझ में आ रहा है कि पॉसिबिलिटीज हैं? हाँ, तो इतना हम क्यों परेशान हो रहे हैं? चाइना क्या करेगा नहीं करेगा? Okay, what I'm saying is the area have resources and they have got very, very valuable resources. It's not a regular one. Okay, the cobalt and copper and lithium are the resources of the 22nd century. Okay, ऐसे resources बाकी वर्ल्ड में मिलते नहीं हैं. If they can get the politician right, these countries can transform in flat 10-15 years. As they transform, they can be very, very modern urban civilizations there. जब हम कंपेयर कर रहे हैं, आपको दुबई का फोटोग्राफ देखना, 1980s photograph of Dubai, what it was and what it is today. Shanghai, what was Shanghai in 1980s and what is Shanghai today? Have a photograph look. What was Singapore in 1980s and 90s and what is Singapore today? So ये transformations are possible. Okay, so talking about and food aid है नहीं है, That's a different thing. Even India has aid, right? Okay. So being optimistic there, we're saying aaj nahi to kal things will improve, and they're bound to improve because of awareness and interventions. And then predictions tell us or projections tell us that Africa will have higher growth rates because of its reduction in mortality rates. Yeah, Tanesh, a lot of things, not just as simple as that. Yes, Pura Sahel belt, which today is the poorest region of the world. Sahel belt, sub-Saharan Africa. Okay, anything can go wrong, has gone wrong there. Droughts, conflicts, terrorism, hunger deaths, soil erosion, soil degradation, desertification, you name it, that area has it. And the area also has all these valuable minerals. Floods also, yes, also floods. Parts of Niger में floods भी हैं आपके. ठीक है? So that's the idea. Anyways, in fact, Sahel में भी I recorded one video again couple of weeks ago. Have a look. Sahel. ठीक है? आज हम कराते हैं maps आपको. So that's about the distribution. Any questions on this, anybody? Any revisions से questions हैं? कोई doubts हैं आपको? So what I'll do is the next half an hour I'll spend a bit on the atlas and the locations we discussed yesterday. अगर atlas है तो अच्छी बात है, otherwise look at the board and we'll manage. Okay. So population, concentration, regions. Population, take a fresh page and we'll spend quite amount of time drawing some sketches and knowing the places. Okay. So any atlas will do, agar atlas hai to अच्छी बात है, and I'll recommend all of you get your atlases. So use ho na ho, bag mein pada rahe. Okay. Geography students can always refer to this. I am starting off with some discussions on North America, and we'll move sequentially towards South and the rest. I am following Oxford Atlas for now, but any atlas will do. There's no compulsion कि आपको सिर्फ Oxford ही लेना है. I think this is fairly visible to all of you. Can I borrow a pencil, please, if somebody has? Yeah? Thank you so much. You have a spare pencil with you? याद करके ले लेना, ठीक है? Otherwise मेरे पास collection बन जाता है pencils. Heading is population distribution regions of the world. We know the specific places and not mindlessly just by heart. So North America mein, if you look at the I've done this earlier. Yeah. So the major pockets, okay? This is Canada here, and this is a river called as St. Lawrence River. Okay, one of the most important rivers of Canada and also North America. St. Lawrence River, and these are some lakes. Okay, we have the Lake Superior, Lake Michigan, we have Lake Huron, Lake Erie, Lake Ontario. If you look at the population of Canada, okay, most of the population is along the Canada-US border. Okay, तो यहाँ पर 49th parallel है, कुछ ऐसे आपका बनेगा border like this, okay, through Lake Superior here and like this. Okay, so this belt is border say within 100 odd kilometers. You have bulk of the settlements of Canada, because the northern part of Canada, the northern part has all tundra regions, frozen regions. You can't live here. Canada has been trying a lot of policies to shift people towards the north, okay, but then it's not livable. Alaska is not a great place to live here. It's very, very cold here. So much of the population of Canada कहाँ रहता है? Okay, along this US Canadian border, इसके साथ रहता है. Lot of population around the lakes here, and this belt here, the St. Lawrence River. This one belt, and along a very small patch along the west coast of the Pacific coast here. We have got Vancouver and the rest. So आप cities देखें आप, cities like, visible to all of you? Yeah. So we have the Vancouver Island here. Okay. We have places like Vancouver cities here. You can see Calgary here, Edmonton, Regina, Winnipeg, Thunder Bay is a very important port on Lake Superior. We have Sudbury mines यहाँ पर है. Sudbury, Montreal. Okay, we have Toronto, Ottawa, Quebec. Okay, so this part, and New Brunswick is a state here. A Newfoundland island here with a capital called St. John's. Have you heard about Trans-Canadian Railway? A railway that links east and west of Canada, and this is more or less along these cities. Okay, this area of Canada, ये जो part है, this area of Canada is what's called as prairie plains. ये grasslands हैं, very important for agriculture. Bulk of the wheat cultivation of Canada happens in this small belt here. The state, एक state Alberta state है, Saskatchewan is a state, Manitoba is a state, Ontario is a state. Okay, so these 3-4 states and near the borders of the US, you have the population here and along the St. Lawrence River. Okay, and on the western side, ये Vancouver region, Vancouver city यहाँ पर है and Vancouver Island यहाँ पर है. I don't know if you know this or not. This area of Canada has lot of Chinese population. Parts of Vancouver is called as Little China. Okay, so as a part of diaspora who had moved much earlier, as a part of the earlier migration patterns में, so this is where we have the and northern part of Canada almost uninhabited नहीं है यहाँ पर, very cold parts of tundra regions and frozen regions here, and ये बीच में जो part, so northern Arctic belt हो गया यहाँ पर, ये Arctic belt है. Between Arctic and this, ये जो बीच का belt है, this belt is forests. We call these as coniferous forests of, the forest resources बहुत important हैं, but people live here. They live here, they do forestry here, then come back here. Okay, they live here, economies यहाँ पर हैं, they come here, forestry activities again back here. Okay, so think of northern Canada as parts of tundra regions, frozen regions. The southern part has the population cities, or beach में you have the arc of the coniferous rich resources of Canada. Canada is a very important paper pulp producer. एक type का, you make fiber clothes, ठीक है? Fiber clothes, cotton fiber, ठीक है? You all know silk fiber. Jute fiber. Do you know what's flax? What's linen? पता है linen क्या है? Linen is not cotton. Linen comes from a plant called as flax. Okay, if flax is a temperate type of crop, okay, very popularly grown in parts of Russia. Okay, और एक type का fiber है called as viscose. Viscose सुना है आपने? Viscose कहाँ से आता है? Anybody knows? Viscose fiber is a very popular fiber, emerging fiber है. ये कहाँ से आता है? Okay, viscose is from trees, and some of them are coniferous trees, and the largest producers of viscose trees is Canada, and Canadian forest ka ownership is with your Birla Group. Okay, they own the forests of Canada here. So Birla is one of the largest viscose producers of the world. Aditya Birla Group. Okay, so just know this. ये forest resources बहुत important part है. Source of paper industries and source of viscose now becoming very, very popular, and they sustain a good part of the Canadian economy. Okay, so back to your notes. Okay, I'm giving you some idea about the distribution through the world map. Okay, so Canadian population distribution. Just 4-5 points. Canadian viscose is one type of fiber. इससे कपड़े बनते हैं, dolly. Flax seeds, flax seeds खाते वो छोड़ दो आप. Okay, seeds की बात है. I'm talking of flax fiber. ओके, फाइबर जो है वो रीड से आ रहा है, स्टेम से आ रहा है, ठीक है, उससे बनता है लिनेन. लिनेन लुक्स लाइक कॉटन, बट लिनेन इज नॉट कॉटन. Linen is flax, and linen is entirely imported because it only grows in the cooler temperate parts of the world. You know about St. Petersburg, Russia mein, they are important traders of flax and linen. Yeah, Shweta. Okay, get back. So, Canada mein, write down, first point here likho aap, that there are 3 population concentration regions of Canada. There are 3 population concentration regions of Canada. Number 1 is the St. Lawrence River. The St. Lawrence River and its extension along the coasts of Great Lakes. St. Lawrence River and its extensions along the coast of Great Lakes. When you say Great Lakes, आप कौन से lakes की बात कर रहे हैं? We have got 5 of them, right? We have a Lake Superior, we have Lake Michigan, we have Lake Huron, we have Lake Erie, and we have Lake Ontario. These lakes are shared by US and Canada. हालांकि मिशिगन जो है ये पूरा यूएस में है. All other the boundary of US and Canada, it passes through the lakes. We have a concept called as like a median line concept. वो बीचों बीच से they'll have. So if this is Lake Superior like this, and this is say Michigan here, the borders okay will pass like this through the lakes. They're shared by US and Canada. Okay, and the St. Lawrence River, okay, it starts from Lake Ontario and goes northwards and drains into the Atlantic Ocean, the Gulf of or the Bay of St. Lawrence. Okay, the important cities likho yahan par, 2-3 names cities. The big ones are Toronto. The big cities are Toronto, Montreal. They both are ports, okay, along the lakes and the rivers. Toronto, Montreal. We have Hamilton. Hamilton is a very important steel industry center of Canada. Hamilton. We have Ottawa. Ottawa capital hai. Ottawa. Okay, we have Quebec City, the capital of Quebec. Quebec City. Okay, so these are the centers along the Great Lakes and along St. Lawrence River. The second belt is the prairie regions of Canada. Prairie, P-R-A-R-I-E, prairie regions of Canada, okay, along the US-Canadian border. Along the US-Canadian border. यहाँ पे बहुत ज्यादा लोग नहीं है, but this is where we have some economy. These are the wheat regions of Canada. They are the wheat regions of Canada. I'm talking about places like Edmonton, देखो, Edmonton, Regina, Calgary, C-A-L-G-A-R-Y, Calgary, Winnipeg, W-I-N-N-I-P-E-G, Winnipeg. We call these as prairie states and prairie towns of Canada. यहाँ पर है लोग कम हैं, okay, compared to what we have, St. Lawrence River and the Great Lakes. And the third is Vancouver region. Vancouver region is a very small cluster. The Vancouver region in the west along the Pacific coast. The Vancouver region is west along the Pacific coast. So a Canadian distribution देखोगे आप, this is entirely almost controlled by physical factors. Okay, this is good soil, livable conditions of temperature, good water availability. ये plains regions हैं. The Canadian distribution is largely controlled by the physical factors. Is it okay, all of you? Winnipeg, yes, Winnipeg, and further westwards, the city of Vancouver. Vancouver is a cluster, very small. एक city है, उसी का around सारा कुछ है. Okay, it's part of the province called as British Columbia province. Okay, Vancouver is the capital of British Columbia province, further westwards. Then all of you? Okay, now let's look at the US. So, look at US. Now, US में, okay, this part of US, ये जो part है ये वाला, this is called as the New England states. Okay, so Maine, Portland, New Hampshire, Massachusetts, Rhode Island, Connecticut, दिख रहा है ये वाला सारा, Connecticut. You have got New York here. We have got New Jersey. New Jersey is almost little India. Okay, this is a huge amount of population of Indian origin, New Jersey. In fact, ये पूरा belt, New Jersey, Connecticut, this area has lot of Indian population here. Okay, so this area, okay, is called as the New England states. This area has historically the first industries of the US. This area has good climate, not as bad as some other parts of the US. And this area, because along the coast hai, it is not very hot, not very cold, like some of the interior parts. This is the most urbanized area of the US. It's called as the New England states of the US. ये एक part है, और एक part of US is the southern part. ये southern part, not westwards. This place called Florida. यहाँ पर Florida state है यहाँ पर. Then you have this Alabama. We have got Mississippi, parts of Texas along the coast. This part is called as the Sun Belt of US. Sun Belt, why? Because more towards the Tropic of Cancer यहाँ पर है. Okay, this area is warmer. This area has a decent amount of rainfall. This is subtropical type of climate. This also has a lot of cotton farms. This has a lot of old settlements that date back to plantation agriculture economy. If you know this, a lot of African population was brought to work in the cotton farms here. Okay, and that's how. यहाँ पर देखो अगर लिखा होगा, यहाँ पे देखो इस जगह देखो, New Orleans. New Orleans is almost like the fulcrum of the Afro-Americans in the US. Many of them live here. This part is that part of migrant from Africa. Economy used to be the plantation agricultures. So one big population pocket is northeast US called as the New England states. The second big one is the southern part. It's called as southern states. In fact, if you know about the civil war of US, okay, between the Confederates and the Unionists, okay, so यही था, north-south divide था ये वाला. The southern states economy was based on plantation. They required lot of slaves. They required cheap labor. So these states were fighting for, okay, supporting slavery. The northern states, they did not depend on slavery. So यही आपका division था आपका, the US Civil War. Okay, so these states have been always, and these states are relatively more white supremacy वाला. This part and even this part, इसको बोलते हैं the heartland of US. यहाँ पर ऐसे populations, ऐसे cities हैं who have not seen people of any other country origin. If you are in US and you are living here, okay, and driving here and working here, you are part of the very big population. Nobody really cares about you. You are there. Okay, millions others are there. Very diverse society यहाँ पर. अगर आप यहाँ पर हो ना, यहाँ पर they only know American white population. अगर आप कार लेके आप कभी ड्राइव करते हो क्रॉस कंट्री, ये वाले पार्ट में, if you just go to a petrol pump or you take a motel for staying, people will stare at you very blank. It's like कहाँ से आ गया? ऐसे भी कंट्री है क्या इंडिया? कोई आइडिया नहीं है about the world out. This is where you have lot of racism issues. Okay, so this is the heartland. Not much population, but okay, you know वो red states and blue states जानते हो concept? The blue states of US are the Democrats. The white states of US are the Republicans. Okay, Trump is a Republican. So most of the support he gets are these areas here. And these states, because of migrants raha history यहाँ पर रहा है, they are more blue in color. As in, they are more Democrat support because of the bigger chunk of the migrant populations. The US में this is one settlement concentration pocket, some amount here, but not as dense as this. And in recent times, ये western side भी develop कर गया है. You have got San Jose, San Francisco, Oakland, Sacramento, Los Angeles. Even this part has developed into a major concentration mainly after the 1990s. Silicon Valley जानते हैं, right? Why is it called as Silicon Valley? Nobody knows? Why Silicon Valley? IT, हाँ वो तो मुझे ही पता है. वो मुझे पता है कि आपको पता है. तो what Silicon आ रहा है from IT industry. I know that. Why Valley? ये यहाँ पर कौन सा वैली है? Which valley is this? Valley में तो कोई river होगा, right? कोई river है भी कि नहीं? And which river is that? हाँ, Bangalore is Silicon Valley, वो हमने चिपका दिया नाम. Otherwise, Bangalore Valley थोड़ी है, it's all mountainous highlands हैं. Colorado Valley, बेटा, okay, fine, माफ किया. Semiconductor Valley, what was that? बेटा आप तो मुझे कल गाली दे रहे थे, थरपकड़. Okay, I don't know, थरपकड़ means many things, but okay. Grand Canyon. Grand Canyon में लोग रहते हैं. You'll be one of the endangered species then. यहाँ पर एक valley है called as Santa Clara Valley. It's one of the arms of San Francisco River. It's a very, very small river. When you say Silicon Valley, yes, good, nice, thank you for at least one of you responding. Okay, ये सब नाम आपको geography में पता होना चाहिए. So this area, and why? Because it has good, nice climate, very pleasant climate. Migrants हैं, पैसा है, तो they will prefer living in a good area, right? ऐसा नहीं कि यहाँ पर सिलिकन मिलता है तो यहाँ पर खेती हो रहा है यहाँ पर सिलिकन का. Okay, ऐसा नहीं है. Silicon is just a word for IT because of chips. But why here? Because of the better climatic conditions. Okay, this area is will not have as यहाँ पर it's a good climate, but यहाँ पर भी winters में it can become -20, -30. This type of temperature, okay, यहाँ नहीं होगा. So this is where we have one of the pockets of population concentration. इसके अलावा, if you know this river Mississippi, Mississippi is the largest river system of the US. So along Mississippi, ये एकदम बीचों बीच है. Look at the physical map here. So this is the Mississippi River. ऐसे Illinois, Mississippi. Okay, one part goes like this. Missouri system goes further northwards. This is a massive river system. So you have some population living along this also, but not as much as we have in the northeast of US. So back to your notes. The population regions of the US. Population regions of the US. Okay. The largest concentration of population with high urbanization. The largest concentrations of population with very high urbanization is Northeast US. Is Northeast US, also called as the New England states. The Northeast US and the New England states. New England states. Okay. So you have the area cities or states like New York. New York State भी है, New York City भी है. And New York, we mentioned Maryland, M-A-R-Y, Maryland. Rhodes Island, R-H-O-D-E. Rhodes Island. We have Delaware, D-E-L-A. Delaware. Okay. We have New Hampshire, N-E-W. New Hampshire, H-A-M-P-S-H-I-R-E. New Hampshire. Okay. These are called as the New England states. And further, the population concentration extends into the Atlantic coast up to Florida. It extends into Atlantic coast up to Florida. Okay. तो ये वाला पार्ट को ना, this part here, ये कल बताया था मैंने आपको, this part here. So this area is what's called as the Atlantic seaboard. Okay, ये पूरा Atlantic coast है. This is where you have Washington DC. ये देखो यहाँ Washington DC यहाँ पर है. Okay, this you come down Norfolk. Okay, you come down. You've got Charleston. You have got the areas of Jacksonville, places of Orlando. Okay, ये पूरा region यहाँ पर. Okay, this is the Atlantic seaboard. So this is a major pocket. It extends into the coast of Atlantic, okay, region of eastern US. ठीक है? And within bracket mention, it has one of the largest. ये region जो है, this has one of the largest urban agglomerations called. It has one of the largest urban agglomerations called what? BOWASH. BOWASH. The BOWASH. It's called as the BOWASH conurbation. The BOWASH conurbation. Conurbation is a short form of continuous urbanization. Okay, short form. Con for continuous, abation is urbanization. So conurbation. Okay, और ये BOWASH, Bo is Boston and Wash is Washington. तो ये continuous belt है of urban settlements. The densest, okay, US agglomeration of settlements. ठीक है? Next slide down. Secondary settlements. The secondary settlements are southern US. The secondary settlements are southern US. Southern US including Florida, Alabama, Mississippi, and coastal Texas. Mississippi and coastal Texas. So Texas is a very large state, one of the biggest states of US होगा. और Texas के बहुत सारे parts are deserts. So not entire Texas is well populated. The southern part of Texas. And Texas में you also have this river Mississippi passing. Texas is very important for petrochemicals. You've heard about places like Dallas, Fort Worth. Okay, these areas are Houston. The centers of petrochemicals, refineries. Okay, the southern Texas has lot of population. Within bracket mention, the southern states are called as the sun belts of US. The southern states are called as the sun belts of US. Belts of US and traditionally had cotton plantation farms. The cotton plantation farms. The cotton plantation farms. Okay, you know, these areas mein, we have two type of migrants who have worked. One is, I said, Africans have worked here. Second, lot of migrants from Mexico also. That's why this area you'll find lot of Hispanics. Hispanics are what? People of Mexican or Spanish origin. Okay, so they were here. They would cross the border. Okay, this is Mexico here, Mexican border here. So this area has cotton farms. So they cross the border, work here, and in the back. Okay, so this area also has lot of Hispanic. Hispanic का मतलब क्या होता है? I said Spanish origin population are lot of Spanish speaking populations have been in Mexico. Okay, so anyway, this is one of the pockets of the US population. The third is okay, a smaller cluster of population around San Francisco. Around San Francisco, extending towards Los Angeles and San Diego. Extending towards Los Angeles and San Diego. Sandeigo, San Diego. San Francisco is the capital of which state of US? Nobody knows? Which state of US? Don't say that. ये common mistake है. California का capital Sacramento है, not San Francisco. San Francisco is the largest city. It's the more happening city. It has bigger economy. But the capital of California is Sacramento, not San Francisco. Done all of you? Okay. So, the populations of Canada कहाँ पर है? Populations of US कहाँ पर है? So now what you do is, okay, we can have a small sketch. Sorry, price. Okay. So this is the border approximately, and that's Great Lakes, Lake Superior, Lake Michigan, Lake Huron, Lake Erie, Lake Ontario, and from here you have this river Lawrence, St. Lawrence River here. So जो population regions हैं, okay, one I said is here. Okay, this entire belt is here. We have some groups here. We have some here. Okay, this is a pocket of population. Some amount of population lives in this part, and a very small cluster here. Okay, so this is Vancouver. This is San Francisco. Extends southward into San Diego and Los Angeles. Los Angeles and San Diego. This is the sun belt of US. Florida, Alabama, Mississippi. This is the Atlantic seaboard of US. This is the New England states of US. This is St. Lawrence River region. This is the Canadian prairies. The Canadian prairies. Huh? Yes, because when migrants came, say, lot of population of US are people from Western Europe. Okay, lot of them are Irish populations in Europe. Many of them from Britain. So when they came across Atlantic Ocean, they came here. Okay, this was their region of New England. This was the Old England, and this is the New England. The first settlers from Britain and Ireland, they came and settled in this part. The sun belt is, yes, the sunny regions, the subtropical climate, warmer areas. That's why they called it as the sun belt of the US. Some of them also called it as the sunshine states. They also called it as the sunshine states of the US. All done? Okay, I'm moving on. Next, quick discussion on South America. Yes. Yeah, that's a good observation. I never thought on those lines. But New York State भी है और New York's capital भी है New York State का. It's not. I don't know. I mean, your observation, I do not know. It could be because of industrial centers, maybe. Economic centers somehow have not been the political centers. That could be one reason. I never thought on those lines. What's the reason there? Okay. You're asking me why the large cities of US are not the capitals of the states. Okay, most of them is right. Good, nice observation here. Okay, but maybe because I said no, the political centers have not been the main economic centers. Economic centers जहाँ पर coal है, जहाँ पर maybe HEP plants हैं, so they become bigger cities. But why it was not capitals, I can't explain. I'll look up. Maybe it's an interesting point. Okay, come back to South America. Okay, in South America, this is a very big part. Okay, this is the Amazon River here, Amazon River, and this approximately is the Amazon Basin. It's a very, very large part, okay, of South America. In this area, you do not have settlements or cities, dense forest, and very, very primitive tribes. And some tribes ऐसे भी हैं who have not known the world outside. हमें भी पता नहीं है इसके अंदर कुछ tribes हैं who have not been documented well. Okay, so very obscure part, dense forest, you can't enter as easily. That's one. ये वाला पूरा part is mountains, the Andes Mountains. Andes Mountains वैसे भी will not have much of population. And along the coast, there is a strip of deserts called as the Atacama Deserts. Okay, so a very large rainforest, a huge mountain region belt, along with a desert called as Atacama Desert. आप नीचे आओगे, again there is a very large desert in parts of Argentina called as the Patagonia Desert. यहाँ पर भी population नहीं है. Okay, so if you look at South America, much of South America does not have very habitable lands. जो भी population South America में है, it is along a very narrow stretch along the coast of Brazil. It comes down here. Like ये stretch में some population live here. Okay, and you have some population living in this part called as the Pampas. This area here. This region has two countries. You have got Uruguay and you have got Paraguay. So these two areas. यहाँ पर Paraguay इधर आ जाएगा आपका. So this area has, and यहाँ पर एक large river है called as the Paraná-Paraguay system. It's together called as the La Plata River system. Okay, so if you look at the map of political, okay, so this is Uruguay, this region here, Uruguay, ऊपर Paraguay region here, and this belt along Brazil coast, okay, Campos, Rio de Janeiro, Santos, Sao Paulo, Curitiba. This has populations of Brazil. Some scattered ones here, but nothing of significance. Okay, and this area, यहीं पर capital of Argentina भी है, Buenos Aires. Okay, on the southern part of this inlet, northern part Montevideo is capital of Uruguay. And along this river, if you go up here, you also have populations. In fact, you can see Santa Fe here. Santa Fe, and you can see this big one called Ascension. Ascension is the capital of Paraguay. So along this Paraguay river, इसमें कुछ populations. Okay. Rest of South America is very sparsely populated. So again, an example of control of physical conditions. Okay. Why along the coast यहाँ पर? Because warm conditions. Okay. This area has some amount of economy here. Okay. And the rest of Brazil is dense forest, highlands, drought regions. In northern part of Brazil, this area has lot of droughts problems, water problems यहाँ पर होगा. So Brazil's, you can almost say 95% population of Brazil जो है ये along this coast है. And this bulk alone, the place called Santos, Sao Paulo, Curitiba, ये area में you have almost 80% of Brazil's population. This is one pocket, and second pocket is this area. The grasslands areas हैं called as the Pampas. Pampas, parts of Argentina, parts of Uruguay, and parts of Paraguay. Paraguay में कम है. These two areas have this and this stretch of the La Plata River. Back to your notes. Head down. South America. In South America, okay, that the main population concentration pockets are in South America. The main population concentration pockets are: number one, southeastern Brazil. Southeastern Brazil, around Sao Paulo. Around Sao Paulo is the state of Brazil. Around Sao Paulo, Sao-Paulo, Sao Paulo, not Polo. Sao Paulo, इसका पोर्ट है Santos. Santos is the port of Sao Paulo state. They're almost like twin cities, you can बोल सकते हो. Okay, so Sao Paulo region, Curitiba is a very big city of Brazil. Curitiba. 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 If you look at lot of urban development experiments have been done here. The systems of bus corridors, lot of urban replanning along metro systems. So in most urban examples of development they give examples of this place called Curitiba. Okay, this one, Rio de Janeiro. Rio de Janeiro is considered as the cultural capital of Brazil. In fact, यहाँ पर capital था Brazil का, Rio de Janeiro. And then it was a political decisions कि भाई सारे लोग अगर यही रहेंगे, then who will take care of rest of Brazil? So the government of Brazil deliberately said, let us have a new capital inside Amazon forest. Such capitals are called as frontier capitals बोलते हैं. They are in areas जहाँ पर लोग रहते नहीं हैं. Okay, or there is at the economic peripheral areas of a country called as frontier capitals. So a new capital called Brasilia was set up, and now the government encourages go and live there. Remember I talked about government policies forcing population to live. So now around Brasilia, so a Brasilia location देखो आप. In fact, let me show you the cities otherwise also. Yeah, this is Brasilia. Brasilia and cities like Manas. ऊपर देखो Manas यहाँ पर है. Okay, we have cities like Altamira, Belém. Belém is at the mouth of river Amazon. These are small settlements. Brazil is towards Amazon forest. Okay, and इसके beyond में Amazon forest ही है. We call such capital as frontier capitals. So back to your notes. Yes, Suraj, correct. The choice of capitals is a complex thing. See, in Pakistan में Okay, Pakistan's bigger important city are Lahore and Karachi. Karachi is the main port. Lahore is almost like the cultural center of Pakistan. When they were having the capital, they said, no, we'll want the capital near Indian borders. Okay, so they moved towards Islamabad. Otherwise, Islamabad was actually a small village. Attock, Rawalpindi ka village tha ye wala. Okay, and then they said, no, we want near borders taki that the area has political significance. So they feel more secure that way. Okay, again, Islamabad is an example of a frontier capital. Rawalpindi, Islamabad, Attock. Okay, so वैसे ही Brasilia है आपका, correct. Okay, yes, you're right. This is what even Indonesia has done. Indonesia में bulk of the people live in the Java island. Java is the world's most densely populated island of the world, and they had Jakarta. Okay, अब जकार्ता में लोग बहुत रहते हैं. Jakarta has groundwater, and people started pumping a lot of groundwater, and the groundwater के जो air spaces थे, they have now become empty. The rock is collapsing in Jakarta. Because rock collapsing, the city is now sinking. और वैसे भी city has problems of lot of floods from the seas. So Indonesia said, let us now go to Borneo. Borneo region again is forested area. Borneo is lot of dense forest. ज़्यादा लोग रहते नहीं है Borneo में. Borneo has more of again tribes. Okay, they are the Borneo tribes. So they said we'll have a new capital called as Nuwantara, okay, which is like a frontier capital of Indonesia. ठीक है? Yes, there are many examples of this. We will back on that slowly. So come back here. So the population of South America, one pocket I said is southeast Brazil है. I mentioned the locations. वही add कर लो. Brasilia is a frontier capital. Brasilia is a frontier capital of Brazil. And deliberate policies encourage settlements around Brasilia. Policies, they encourage settlements around Brasilia. All done? That's one pocket. The second is right down. The second region is the Pampas grasslands. The Pampas grasslands across Uruguay. Pampas grasslands across Uruguay, Argentina, and extending towards Paraguay. Okay. The big cities I mentioned is Montevideo, Montie. Montevideo. Montevideo is the capital of Uruguay. Then Buenos Aires, Buenos Aires, Buenos Aires, capital of Argentina. Santa Fe, Santa, Santa Fe. Again, an important city of Argentina, Santa Fe. And further northwards, Asunción, Asunción, Asunción. Okay, add कर लो that the Pampas region extends along Paraguay-Parana river system. It extends along Paraguay-Parana, P-A-R-A-N-A, Parana river system. यही दो pockets हैं which have the bulk of population of South America. Right down rest of South America is dense forests, highlands, or deserts. Dense forests, highlands, or deserts. Okay? So North America, South America, some ideas about where the populations are. The third one, let's talk about Africa. Okay. Now in Africa, we have not drawn South America, right? Yeah, you can draw South America first. Main pockets of population are, one is this pocket here, one is this pocket here. It extends into the river system here. This is southeast Brazil, and this is the Pampas. This is La Plata system, and this includes the river Paraguay, uska tributary Parana. Call this together as La Plata system or Paraguay Parana system, the second largest river system of South America. Okay. Rest of South America is mountains. ये पूरा mountains है. Andes mountains like this. Mountains. This part here is a massive dense forest, the Amazon forest, and rest of, okay, ये highlands area है, ये भी highlands area है. Okay, the Andes mountains, the Amazon forests, okay, the highlands, तो रहने like these pockets. The Pampas, the southeast Brazil, and extensions of La Plata system. Can I move on now? Of North America बना दिया पूरा, right? अलग अलग बनाना चाहो बना लो आप. North America includes Canada. Okay, we're moving on. The next is Africa. Okay. In Africa, now see, this is all Sahara. ये पूरा huge northern part here, ये पूरा Sahara desert. इसी का extension towards east भी है, ये Sahara हो गया. Then we have a belt here. This is called as the Sahel belt. Okay, Sahel belt, and this is a very large area of, again, dense forests called as the Congo forest, right? It Congo forest hai. If you look at Africa, okay, this is a very important area. The parts of ये वाला पार्ट. This has been historically a very important civilizations में था ये. Because देखो, this area is not as hot. Coast है. This area has some lowlands. It has river deltas. Okay, very big river. You have got a river Volta, a river Niger. It comes and drains here. Okay, so delta, river basins, plains, not as hot. Coastal areas हैं. And lot of trading happened along the coast यहाँ पे. Okay, so इसमें लिखा नहीं है. Otherwise, you have got a gold coast. You have got the slave coast. Okay, these areas will have the grain coast. Lot of trading, even people slaves towards South America यहीं से जाता था. So this area was a very prosperous area. Okay, parts of New Guinea, Ghana an empire रहा है. Okay, huge powerful empire, Ghana empire, or Mali empire. Today Mali is a poor country. Okay, but Timbuktu, okay, is a very old settlement. Okay, it date back to BC में चला जाएगा आपका. So this area has a old population, including okay parts of Cameroon, Nigeria. यहाँ पर एक है. Then Ethiopian highlands is a very important part of again Ethiopia of Africa. This area, unlike rest of Africa, ये highland area है, and it has volcanic soils. Volcanic soils are very fertile soils. Fertile soils and good rainfall. This area में 24 months of the year आपको स्वेटर पहनना पड़ेगा. Not a jacket, light sweater. Okay, and this has good agriculture. Ethiopia is Abyssinia. Okay, the main, this very important country, and perhaps important, one of the only countries in Africa that has not been colonized. Okay, the Germans have tried to colonize here. The Italians have tried colonizing here, कर नहीं पाए. Very powerful empire था यहाँ पर. Last king Haile Selassie, okay, who was deposed, I think, as recent as 80s में deposed हुआ, and that too because of the communist uprising here. So Ethiopia was a very powerful empire. तो आप जो सुनते हैं ना, Ethiopia has famines, Ethiopia has deserts. The desert famines are not because of environment factors, they're because of political factors. Political factors, bad governance, lot of conflicts in recent times हो गया है. Ethiopia के north में एक छोटा सा country है called as Eritrea. Okay, Eritrea was once a part of एक तो अलग country था. They fought a war and Ethiopia annexed it. They again fought a war, again it became separated. The conflicts हैं, they have kept Ethiopia very poor. Otherwise, this is a very important center of civilization. Okay. In fact, Ethiopia has one of the oldest Bibles of the world. Ethiopia is where Islam, when Prophet Muhammad was persecuted in Mecca, and when his people were migrating, they migrated first to Ethiopia. जैसे हर country, हर religion का अपना अपना dates है, right? When they measure their dates from, right? So Vikramaditya, okay, you have your calendar here, the Georgian calendar here. Okay, they measure 0 AD from birth of Christ. Islamic calendar में all dates are from the first Hijr. Hijr means migration. Okay, the Hijr, the first migration of Islam, okay, from Mecca happened towards Ethiopia. Ethiopia is a cultural center. Ethiopia has some of the oldest forms of Christianity. A type of Christians are called as Coptic Christians. Okay, very, very conservative populations in Ethiopia. The Ethiopian old civilization हो गया. वैसे old civilization of West Africa हो गया. And then south में you have these parts of South Africa. South Africa, this again is not a very old civilization, but again more prosperous because of okay, the industries here in Africa. यही दो countries are doing very well relatively, South Africa and okay, Nigeria. So these three are pockets. इसके अलावा some population also along this part here. This is Morocco, Algeria. It has the Mediterranean type of climate. So good climate, agriculture, exports of olives. Morocco, again a very old civilization raha hai. You know, in Spain, they call these peoples as Moors, M-O-O-R, Moors. Moors are Moroccan rulers who crossed over into Spain and they ruled Spain. Southern Spain has lot of Moroccan culture. Okay, so these are the main pockets. इसके अलावा the most famous one is the river Nile का ribbon. Fertile river, fertile floodplains, and a very large delta here. Okay, the famous Nile Delta, a center of Roman Empire raha hai, center of Persian Empire raha hai. Nile Delta, places like Cairo, Alexandria. Okay, this becomes one more settlement belt. Is it okay, all of you? Rest of Africa, again, deserts, dense forest, highlands. Okay, यहाँ पर very big Rift Valley. It is considered as a taboo to enter the Rift Valley. यहाँ पर भी कोई रहता नहीं है ज़्यादा. Write down now. Okay. So Africa, the main settlement pockets, the main settlement regions or settlement pockets in Africa. One is Western Africa, the part of West African civilization. The Western Africa is part of West African civilization, put hyphen, along Gulf of Guinea coast. Along Gulf of Guinea coast. यहाँ पर you have a country called Guinea, Ivory Coast, Guinea, G-U-I-N-E-A. You pronounce it as Guinea, you write as Guinea. Okay, Guinea. G-U-I-N-E-A. Guinea, Ivory Coast, Ghana, Nigeria, Togo, Benin, T-O-G-O, Togo, Benin, B-E-N-I-N, Benin, and parts of Mali, and Niger, N-I-G-E-R, parts of Niger. Okay, so river resources, floodplains, देखो, river resources, floodplains, ports. I don't know if they're mentioned here or not. A very large port of Nigeria is Port Lagos. It used to be capital. Now they shift the capital towards Abuja. Large ports, and Nigeria का जो port region है, it's oil region. Nigeria is among the richest nations of Africa. Okay, so Port Lagos, L-A-G-O-S, Port Lagos. ठीक है, this part here, one pocket. Second pocket is Ethiopian highlands. Second is Ethiopian highlands with its good rainfall, volcanic soils. Good rainfall, volcanic soils. It's a civilizational center in Eastern Africa. It is a civilizational center in Eastern Africa. Okay. Third pocket is South Africa. Third is South Africa. South Africa में 2-3 main pockets जो हैं. One is Cape Town, because it's coastal areas, good climate. Cape Town. Okay. Then we have Durban, D-U-R-B-A-N, Durban. Durban has lot of Indian population. Durban. And then we have Johannesburg. J-O-N-E-S, Johannesburg. B-E-R-G, Johannesburg. Okay. The main pockets of South Africa. The next is the Northwest Africa. The Northwest Africa of Morocco, Algeria, and Tunisia. Of Morocco, Algeria, and Tunisia. Okay, within bracket, along the Mediterranean and Atlantic coast. Along the Mediterranean and Atlantic coast. And that's because of, again, the Mediterranean climate. Because of Mediterranean climate. Mediterranean, Mediterranean, Mediterranean climate. Okay, and the proximity with Europe. And the proximity with Europe. अल्जीरिया, फ्रांस काफी माइग्रेशन होता है. मोरक्को, स्पेन माइग्रेशंस होते हैं. Tunisia, Algeria again, and France again migrations. Like a lot of France has Algerian migrants. देखो फ्रांस बड़ा अपसेट है because इतने migrants आ गए हमारे देश में. Okay, we are the pure white population, the more advanced population. कहां से आ गए Algerians and all of that? Not realizing Algeria was France colony. Okay, Algeria was under the French rule for a long time. So was Libyan regions. एक तो वहां जाके छेड़ते हो. Okay, वहां पर 200-300 साल you rule there, and then they become dependent on you. Okay, they find good economy France, तो घुसेंगे, right? Okay, so you enter there, you mess up the economy there. Okay, and people find avenues. Algeria is poor, otherwise a poverty area. So no wonder Algeria has lot of migrants moving into France. Okay, so proximity with Europe also has encouraged lot of, because rest of Algeria जो है ना वो पूरा deserts हैं, part of Sahara desert. You can't really have too many habitations there. ठीक, this pocket. And the next one is the Nile Valley. A richest concentration ribbon, the Nile Valley. Nile Valley, okay. Cities like Khartoum, Khartoum, like Khartoum, Khartoum, Khartoum. Then we have Cairo, Khartoum. Khartoum is the capital of Sudan, North Sudan. And Khartoum is where, if you know about Blue Nile, right? Blue Nile goes and joins White Nile at Khartoum. Khartoum is example of what's called as a confluence city. जैसे Allahabad, Prayagraj है इंडिया में. Okay, that's where the rivers come and meet. So जहाँ पर river meet कर रहे होंगे, invariably the area becomes very important area of economy. So Khartoum is a very large city. Khartoum, for the northward is Cairo. Cairo is where the delta of river Nile starts. Delta as a triangle hoga. Delta is a triangle. Okay, so this is Cairo. On one end it is Suez, the other end is Alexandria. This is the Nile Delta. Cairo, Suez Canal ka terminus. Okay, and you have Alexandria. Apparently, Alexandria has the burial place of Alexander, but nobody has found it yet. Okay, nobody knows where Alexander was ultimately buried. Okay, so Alexandria was made by Alexander, and there are speculations that maybe his tomb or body lies there. Okay, so this is the fertile part of the river Nile. Okay, so you can draw this Africa, this is your equator. So this is one pocket of population. This is Ethiopian highlands here, and this is the Nile Valley. This is the northwest part, and this part is South Africa. Okay, West African. This is Ethiopian or Abyssinian. This is Nile, and this is northwest, which is MAT. याद रखना, MAT is Morocco, Algeria, Tunisia. MAT countries, and these are having Mediterranean climates. Yes, Ashish, correct. The Mediterranean climate of northwestern. Okay, rest of Africa, mentioned this already. So this is your mountain, Atlas mountain. Okay, ये पूरा otherwise is a desert region. Okay, this area is dense Congo forests. यहाँ पर भी desert area यहाँ पर भी है. Okay, this is a massive rift valley like this. बचा क्या रहने के लिए? Okay, so this is the mountain called as Atlas mountain. This is the Sahara desert. This is Congo forest. This is Namib desert, and this is the Rift Valley. Rift Valley, nobody lives. It's considered as a bad omen or a taboo to live inside the Rift Valley. Okay, ये सारा savanna grasslands. ये सारे areas of savanna grasslands. Yes. Yes, it is separating. Yes. South Africa, Akash. This pocket is South Africa. हाँ बताओ. Port Said. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm sorry. I said Suez. Sorry. This is Port Said. Sorry. Suez नीचे. Yeah, thanks for pointing it out. This is Port Said. Port Said is Suez Canal में northern part Port Said है, नीचे जो है वो Suez है. Yeah, thanks. A mistake. So the delta is Cairo, Alexandria, and Port Said. No, Suez नीचे. The Suez Canal is between Suez and Port Said. Yes, thank you. All done, all of you? Diagram. अच्छा, देखो. Previous one. Mediterranean. ये वाला. ये वाला. A lot of people पहली बार दुनिया देख रहे हो. ये सब स्कूल पढ़ाई है. देखिए, स्कूल में गड़बड़ किया था, अब पैसे देके पढ़ोगे. एंड सम ऑफ एक बार नहीं 3 साल पढ़ोगे. वेलकम टू यूपीएससी. दिस इज एनसीईआरटी वर्क. All done? Okay. I thought I'll take half an hour, but I have taken more than that. आगे का छोड़ देते हैं. ठीक है, बाकी अपने आप मैनेज कर लेना. I'll just mention some. 3 कॉन्टिनेंट किया, imagine. Wow, it's a crazy amount. Okay. Write down. यूरोप का लिख लेते हैं. ठीक है. the population pockets of Europe. विवेक says no. बेटा विवेक, एक तो मैं आपको पूछ नहीं रहा हूं, मैं बोल रहा हूं. तो मैं ask you can say no. कोई बात नहीं. आप लोग गोल खुला छोड़ देते हो ना, मैं गोल too tempting to ignore a possible goal. अच्छा, write down यूरोप में. Okay, write down Western Europe has much of the population concentrations. Western Europe has much of the population concentrations. Okay, let's write down. Europe is largely highlands, mountainous areas. Okay. Not very large rivers, not too many very large rivers, and limited plains and fertile soils. Next, okay. The Great Plains of Europe. Is a very narrow stretch of plains along northern coast. A very narrow stretch of plains along the northern coast that extends eastwards as Russian lowlands. Now, देखो यूरोप ना lot of misnomers हैं. Okay, I remember seeing one of the videos. It says एक तो ये है कि Europe has called itself as a continent, but it actually is not a continent. It's a very small part of the larger Eurasia. Okay, वो एक extension वाला part है. And much of that Europe is highlands, Alps, highlands in Spain, highlands in parts of Britain, in Scotland, highlands of Norway, Sweden, and very cold conditions. और यूरोप में बहुत बड़े-बड़े rivers नहीं हैं. One big river is river Danube, but much of Danube flows along mountains. तो बहुत कम plains हैं. तो यूरोप में एक एरिया है, they call as the Great Plains of Europe. अब Great Plains बोल रहे हैं because उससे बड़ा कभी उन्हें देखा नहीं, right? Okay, so it is a very narrow stretch of plains. It's no patch if I compare with any other plains or खासकर Indian northern plains. तो उनके लिए वो बहुत बड़ा है. Okay, so it's a very small arc, probably starting from parts of northern France, Belgium, Netherlands, northern part of Germany, towards Poland, and then towards Russia. This they call as the Great Plains of Europe. And यहाँ पर you have got climate moderate, you have the deltas of the rivers, industries, ports यहाँ पर है. So bulk of Europe lives along these Great Plains. Plus, lot of Europe is along the resource regions जहाँ पर coal है, जहाँ iron ore mines हैं, जहाँ पर industries they managed earlier. Okay, so I'll just show this map of Europe to all of you. There. Okay, so ये देखो. So यूरोप में what happened? Yeah. So this is Spain. Spain is all highlands. It's called as the Spanish Meseta. जैसे प्लेटो रीजन्स, वेरी ड्राई रीजन्स। और स्पेन में जो भी लोग रहते हैं, फ्यू सिटीज अलोंग द कोस्ट यहां पर, एंड सेंटर वन कॉल्ड मैड्रिड। अब स्पेन में बहुत ज्यादा लोग नहीं है, ऑल माउंटेनस एरियाज, ड्राई रीजन, सेमी एरिड रीजन्स एंड सो ऑन। This green patch, you can see the arc from here, because plains of France, ये वाला goes like this along Germany, and this goes towards Russia eventually. So this is the part of Russia. This is the, okay. Now this is the Russian lowlands. ये Russia है. Okay. So this is definitely large. Otherwise, Europe, the West European plains जो है, वो ये छोटा सा ही arc है, like this. So whatever people of Europe that they live mainly along this, and some pockets जहां पर coal resources हैं, ऐसे Germany में you can see river Rhine here. Along this river Rhine, you have got some people living here. Industries हैं, urbanization है. Not much people in Poland. Okay, France में they either live along this or they live along southern part or along the river valleys, river Seine, river Lorraine, okay, river Garonne. Okay, so along the rivers they'll have some population. वैसे ही ब्रिटेन में ये पूरा माउंटेनस है. Okay, Scotland mountainous. This also is mountains, Pennine range. So in Britain जो भी लोग रहते हैं, bulk of them are here. The southern London plains, southern England plains यहाँ पर. Okay, so this is one pocket of concentration of in Europe, in Britain. Then this arc will be some population here. Okay. Plus, I said those local rivers and resource regions. Otherwise, Alps, Jura mountains, Carpathian mountains यहाँ पर. You can see Carpathians यहाँ पर. Okay, it's like this. Carpathians are the longest range of Europe. Okay, this mountain here, Tara Mountains, Alps is here. Of ऊपर और चले जाओ, ये सब mountainous, Arctic regions हैं. So the populations of Europe mainly are along these economic centers or the low-lying areas. Back to your notes. Okay, write down something here. So Europe's population is concentrated. Europe's population is concentrated mainly along the Atlantic coasts and North Sea coast, mainly along the Atlantic coast and the North Sea coast of Western Europe. Some of the other clusters of population, in Europe are along Rhine Valley because of coal fields. Rhine Valley, R-H-I-N-E, Rhine Valley because of coal fields. Number two, southern France because of climate. इसको फ्रेंच रिवियरा बोलते हैं. Southern France because of the climate. Next, southern England with its plains and coal fields. Southern England with its plains and coal fields. Okay. जो southern England है, southern England includes cities like Coventry, includes cities like Sheffield, like Birmingham. Birmingham is the second largest city of Britain. Okay, these are parts of South England. Coventry is the center of automobiles. Okay, Sheffield has a lot of steel plants. Okay, Birmingham also steel plants. South England में. Otherwise, Scotland mountains हैं, not much population there. Okay. In France and in Germany, next point likho aap. In France and Germany, populations are also along the narrow river courses. Also along the narrow river courses. Right? Names of 2-3 rivers. The Germany mein hai a river Elbe, a river Weser. Rivers of Germany hai. River Elbe, river Weser, river Rhine. Okay. In France, you have got a river Seine, a river Garonne, okay, a river Loire, a river Rhone, Elbe, Weser, Rhine, Seine, Garonne, Loire, Loire. So back in the room, please go and see where the rivers are. Garonne. Yes, correct. Paris is part of the Seine River. Paris. The Paris Basin is part of the Seine River. Correct. Okay? So Europe does not have very large, okay, conditions. And add karo. Western Europe as an important population cluster. Western Europe as an important population cluster was more because of economic factors. With its industries, urbanization and port cities. Industries, urbanization and its port cities. इतने बड़े continent में, if you look at this, okay, large area, okay, when economy started developing here, Britain में economy शुरू हो रहा है, okay, steel plants in Germany, so all of Europe ultimately went there. This area became a center of lot of populations from across Europe. That's how this area now becomes an important, okay, cluster of population. Otherwise, physical conditions compared to other parts is not really very good. But good urbanization, good economic growth, good industries, good ports, that encourage this area to become an important population cluster of the world. Okay. Of all the clusters of the world, population में, Northeast US and West European, ये दो main cluster हैं which are entirely urbanized. बाकी clusters, South Asia, Southeast Asia, or in parts of South America, they are more of rural populations, like, or they are mixed economies. Even China mein, like, urbanization is a major issue. Otherwise, even China has more of its rural populations. Is it okay, all of you? Chalo. So I think I'll leave the distribution discussion here. Okay. My main intention of this was that you have to know the world map a bit more. And world map ke alag classes aapke hone wale hain nahi. Okay. Some of you may have done the sessions on your own, NCERT, whatever. So I was using distribution topic as an excuse to tell you something about the places of the world. Right? Okay. So take a fresh page, or maybe you can leave one page, go back to your room and do a bit of China if you can, from what I discussed on the YouTube. Leave one page and take up a fresh one. Give a heading, population growth. Give heading, population growth. Achha, I'll expect tomorrow all of you bring your human geography textbook. Okay, so once in 2-3 days, I help you read the book, some sections. So bring your population geography textbook, either 5th or 6th edition, that's your choice. Start off now? Okay, sit down. Uh, the two most important population characteristics, the two most important population characteristics that decides many other aspects of social and economic conditions. Decides, okay, most of the other social and economic conditions are population natural growth rates, population natural growth rates, and population migrations. These two together are referred to as population dynamics. And they influence almost all the other elements of society and economic reality. Elements of society and economic reality. आप कुछ ही बात करें, talk about hunger, conflicts, women's status, health issues, education issues, root में ये दो आ जाएगा invariably. How is the population growing in terms of birth rate? So जो the two population, okay, attributes or say population elements, okay, one is the population natural increase. What I mean by this is the birth rate and death rate ka difference is called as natural increase, and the second one is migration. Okay, and these two together we call as population dynamics, and these two together decide population growth. Why does a region grow in numbers? Why a country grows in numbers? यही दो main aspects हैं. Okay, they are the root of, in fact, GS paper 2 में this is at the root of entire social issues. But in GS class this is not done in that way. You directly jump into caste issues, communal problems, or illiteracy, or women issues. Okay, but this is at the core of whatever social justice issues that we have across countries. Let's write down. Give a heading: population natural increase. Population natural increase. Okay, heading और इसका सब हेडिंग दे दो, measurement and indices. Main heading is study of population natural increase, and the subheading is measurement of this and what are the indices. वो क्या क्या formula है. Okay, the first is the crude birth rate. Okay, a number of births per 1,000 population. Number of births per 1,000 population. When I say birth, I mean live birth. Okay, a lot of stillbirth होते हैं. The baby when born is already dead. We exclude that. When I say birth, I'm talking about live birth per 1,000 population. So how do you formula क्या है इसका? A number of live birth okay, divided by the total population into 1000. And generally, as a convention, we do this for mid-year. Okay, mid-year, we're talking about June. Okay, 6th month, 5th month में करते हैं. Okay, so that you have captured the previous ones and you are not missing out bulk of the year. So mid-year values होते हैं इसमें, the birth rate. And write 2 points here. देखो, for development, the desirable rate of birth rate should be less than 10. Should be less than 10. For India, it is around 15 to 17. For India, it is around 15 to 17. Okay. Birth rates of 30 or 35. Birth rates of 30 or 35 is considered very high. Is considered as very high. Okay. So you are targeting around 10, 12, less than 10 is what we want. Okay. India has reduced substantially. Okay. From 50s, when our birth rate was almost around 35, we have come down to around 15, 17. Okay. And within bracket mention, it is called crude birth rate because it does not capture the proportion of women in a society. It does not capture the proportion of women in a society or the age of the mothers. ये भी एक important parameter है discussion of birth rate. Okay, see, when I am doing this demographic studies, demographic मतलब क्या है? Study of population. Not only I want to know what is the present growth rate, I also want to know आगे क्या होने वाला है. Okay, how will our population grow in the future? So, the mother, वो young mother है, या फिर mother is an older mother matters a lot. Right now, say the mother is young, again the age group of 18, 20 years of age, every likelihood that this mother will have more children in the future. But the mother is in the range of 35, 30, less likely for the lady to have more children. So to know whether in the future the society will have more growth or not, the age of mothers is very important. That's why, when we declare this idea that the minimum marriageable age of girls is 18. Okay, इसका एक reason तो definitely ये है, at 18 years of age the girl is more mature. At 18 years of age, okay, the girl can take decisions to some extent. Okay, the girl probably will be relatively more educated. That's one aspect. Second aspect is, if you delay the age of marriage, less likely to have more children in the family. Okay, so ये सब चीज you cannot know from the crude birth rate. It doesn't tell you about the details of the women or the age of them. That's why I call this as the crude birth rate. Next is crude death rate. Number of people dying per 1,000 population. Number of people dying per 1,000 population. Again, crude क्यों है? Because it doesn't tell us which age people are dying more. Are more people dying children? Are more people dying old population? Are people dying more women? Are people dying more? Are they adult population? No details here. That's why it's called as crude. Okay, write down. It's crude because it does not detail the age of high mortality groups. The age of high mortality groups. तो किसी सोसाइटी में if children are dying more, it means poverty, hunger problems, lack of child health care. It also means unhealthy mothers also. In fact, we'll talk about it today itself, or maybe tomorrow. We talk about growth of population. Why some societies have more birth rates? There are many factors. Factors around whether a woman is empowered or not. Factors around cultural aspects also. How does the society see children? But एक बहुत important parameter है is the mortality of infants. If children have higher death rates, the families will always become psychologically very, very unsure because they know children are dying. So such families, for hedging the risk, they end up having more children. If I know that of the 2 babies born or 3 babies born, 2 of them will die because of health issues or whatever issues. So this family will end up having higher birth rates. And even if conditions change, क्या होगा? वो inertia रह जाता है. It becomes a part of a society's culture to have more children. It takes time. So initially children were dying, so I am having large families. Now conditions are better, children not dying, but having large families becomes a part of the cultural compulsion. वो family के tradition में आ जाता है. If you don't have more children, then it is not auspicious. So high IMR is a very important reason why some societies have higher birth rates. And this is what we did in our population policy. Because we did a lot of things, it didn't work. 1990s mein, the government of India said, "Ek kaam karo, stop telling people how many children they must have. What you must do is take care of mother, take care of child. Mother healthy, child not dying. In 1 generation or 2 generations, apne aap ghat jayega birth rate." And that's what happened for India. So 1990s, when we launched a program called as Reproductive Child Health Program, RCH program, a WHO sponsored program. And the focus of the program was, don't tell people how many children they must have. You can suggest, ठीक है, have 2 children, have 1 child, but don't force them. What you must do is take care of reducing the child mortalities. अब वो कंट्रोल कर लो, अपने आप बर्थ रेट कम जाएगा eventually. So this death rate does not tell us those details about who are the main people who have high mortality. Does aspirations impact birth rate? Abhinash, talking about economic aspirations? Yes, it does. Yes, it does. A couple, a family that has career motives, economic aspirations, definitely they will not want to have children. Societies where women are part of the workforce, they definitely will not want more children. That's how one aspect of control of population by empowering and developing a society in terms of economic prospects. Yes, we'll come towards that eventually. Okay, this is a crude birth rate, death rate, write down. Desirable CDR is less than 6, 7. Desirable CDR is less than 6 or 7, and India it is already 6. In India it is already 6. ठीक है? So death rates के जो targets थे, we've achieved those, whereas in birth rate it has fallen, but it can fall even further. Next head down. Next is GFR, general fertility rate. GFR, number of children born per 1,000. Number of children born per 1,000 women in the reproductive age span. Number of children born per 1,000 women in the reproductive age span. अब ये specify कर रहा है. Let's not talk about number of children born for the total population. Let's talk more about number of children born and how many of them are women in the age when they can have children. We call that as a reproductive age span, which is from 15 to 49 years of age. Okay, so number of birth divided by the women. Yeah, birth divided by a women population in the 15 to 49 years of age, okay, into 1000. Per 1000 women in the reproductive age span. This is a bit more qualified and not a crude one like the birth rate. अच्छा, इसका एक और right next is ASFR, age specific fertility rate. ASFR, age specific fertility rates. Write down. This is a population index. This is a population index that tracks number of live birth, for specific age groups of women. Number of live birth for specific age group of women. Okay. So what we have done is, the general fertility rate says all women together, okay, in 15 to 49 years of age. Okay. This is better than the birth rate. Now what we do is, इसको हम divide कर देते हैं into 7 cohorts, 7 groups, which is 15 to 19 years of age, 24 years of age, 25 to 29 years of age, okay, 30, 34, 35, 39, 40, okay, or 44, 45, 49. These are the 7 age groups for which they calculate. Okay, so the number of live birth for mothers who are in this age group, number of live birth for women who are in this age group. So now I can tell whether society is moving towards stabilization or not. If I have got more birth rates in this region, which means the society still has, okay, chance of higher birth in the future. Write down. The reproductive age span of women, the reproductive age span of women are subdivided into 7 cohorts or 7 groups. Are subdivided into 7 cohorts. C-O-H-O-R-T. 7 cohorts or 7 age groups. ये लिख लो आप, 7 groups, 15 to 19, 20, 24, 25, 29, तो 5 साल का, 25, 29, 30, 34, 35, 39, 40, 44 and 44, 45, 49. Okay. The birth rate is calculated for, each of these age groups of women population. Each of this age group of women population is a better indicator of, the possibility of future increase of population. increase of population. It is desirable if more mothers are in the age group of above 29 years. Age group above 29 years. Sorry, 25 years. Above 25 years. So this group is considered as the best group in which a mother can belong. 25-29, and इस ग्रुप में जनरली डिस्करेज किया जाता है because it's more likely for a child to develop some kind of genetic problems if the mother is an older mother. Okay, of course, now you have a lot of tests and you can predict all of that. Otherwise, for example, the problem of mongoloid child, okay, where you have got some disabilities is higher if the mother is older than 40 years or older than 35 years. This is a very young mother. Okay, this is an absolute no. Okay, this is a girl. She should be in school. This is considered as the best age group for mothers to have children. Take all of you. Okay. Right next. Demographic shift. Demographic shift in the quality of population. Demographic shift in the quality of population within bracket health, education, resource accessibility is best with older mothers, in a population. Okay, we stop here today. The older students, you will have your class at 3 o'clock. Okay, so you can have your lunch. The how long beta nahi pucha jata. Okay, it's a bad question. And I don't take long classes. We'll have a short one. We'll wind up quickly. Okay, take your break. And new students, you can leave. Tomorrow, bring your Majid Hussain textbook. Take it. Okay then. Yes. टोटल पॉपुलेशन उठा रहे हैं सीडीआर में, बर्थ सीबीआर में क्या लिखा आपने? यस, उसमें विमेन बात नहीं कर रहे हैं, मेन विमेन सब मिलाकर नंबर ऑफ बर्थ पर टोटल पॉपुलेशन. एंड in case of fertility rate, I am looking at total women population in the reproduction age group. It becomes more defined. No, this is in terms of your death rate, including your child and older population. One. Number two, ultimately हम चाहेंगे कि ये बैलेंस हो जाए, बट ये होने में भी टाइम लगता है. Okay, not all children born ultimately survive. बर्थ रेट हम मेंशन कर रहे हैं ओनली फॉर नोइंग कि कितना हम ऐड कर रहे हैं, बट सारे सर्वाइव करेंगे नहीं. इसमें फिर IMR भी आ जाएगा. So if I'm looking at balance, you're right, the balance happens when the both becomes comparable. धीरे धीरे घटेगा आपका, it will fall. तो हम चाह रहे हैं कि ये 5, 6, 5 ये दोनों होना चाहिए. ठीक है? Yes. रीजंस फॉर वहां पर क्यों शुरू हुआ? Africa had the most tropical climate compared to all other continents.